What's going on, everyone, and welcome back to Haruki Murakami art. In today's video I would like to tell you my personal story of killing Commendatore, which was my first Murakami book and my start into his universe. This video will be a mix of a review and a personal story, so sit back, relax and grab your tea. It's April 2018. I have just turned 30, and among all gifts from my beloved ones, there was a whooshie from our local bookstore that should change my life forever. I loved this bookstore, but most books I have bought in the past years were of the same genre, like movies and sci-fi. It is also important to know that I have just escaped from a long-year job that has totally wasted me. And if I'm saying wasted, I really mean I was wasted and exhausted. This job allowed me to travel a lot. I've seen many places in Asia and America, but I lost focus on a lot more important things like health, calm, peace, and family. I was lucky enough to get a much calmer job, but your job is not the key to your happiness. It's a lot more. But first, you need to find out what is the most important thing to your life. When I visited the bookstore, I have decided to let coincidence decide over my choice. I said to myself, it should be real literature, a calming cover, and maybe a story about someone in my age. That would be great. And that was when I stumbled over Killing Commendatore by Haruki Murakami. His name was familiar to me, but I never considered before to buy one of his books. I opened the first pages and I was immediately caught. I quickly decided to buy Killing Commendatore, went home and began reading. The main character is an unnamed painter whose wife leaves him at the start of the book. Totally devastated, he quits painting for a while and goes on a long road trip. He breaks out of his life and ends a routine, just as I did a few months before. The character's road trip comes to an end when his car breaks down. He then moves into the remote house of his friend's father, Tomohiko Amada, a well-known painter who has been moved to a nursing home. There, in the attic, he discovers an owl living in it and an unknown painting by Tomohiko, Killing Commendatore, depicting a scene from the opera Don Giovanni. He starts working as an art teacher to make ends meet in the village. Meanwhile, a wealthy neighbor, Wataru Menshiki, offers him a very large sum of money to paint his portrait, which he eventually agrees to do. One night he hears a bell ringing and enlists Menshiki to help him locate the source of the sound. The sound of the bell is coming from a pile of heavy rocks behind a shrine in the woods. Menshiki hires a construction crew to remove the rocks, and they uncover a man-made pit with well-constructed stone walls about 9 feet high. There's nothing in the pit except the bells which they remove. One day, the source of the bell ringing, a so-called idea, reveals itself to the protagonist as a 2 feet tall, apparently flesh and blood copy of the character Commendatore from Tomohiko's painting. From the very beginning, I had nothing but pictures in my head. Pictures of the mountains, of Menshiki, of the woods and the Commendatore. I wanted to be there. And I locked myself from the daily routine. I wanted to finish the book. Sad part of it, Killing Commendatore has been released in 2 parts here in Germany, and somehow my purchase of part 2 was lost, so I had to wait a bit until I could continue. You may ask yourself what attracted me that much. Every Harukist knows about the indescribable magic he spreads, but I'll try it anyway. First, it is the situation of the main character. I could identify with him. I am no painter and I didn't have the struggles of a divorce, but I was sick of my everyday life. I wanted to escape, to leave the routine. And just as him, I wanted to keep discussions and contentions as short as possible. And just as him, I would love to solve real problems with surreal imaginations. What if I could escape the current world? What if strange creatures talked to me, took a bit of the heaviness of our reality, and helped me explain what is going on? You don't have to be a kid to be a dreamer. Even a grown man like Haruki Murakami is a dreamer. The characters of Killing Commendatore are a great reason why I like this book so much. Murakami masterfully creates mysterious and fascinating characters that aren't compulsively sympathetic, but you learn to love. They are neither good or bad people, which makes them so incredibly real and seizable. Let's for example take a look on Menshiki. I don't like or admire him. I wouldn't even know if I would regard him as my neighbor. But still his motives are interesting and I love to listen to him, or better to say, read his dialogues. When I read Killing Commendatore, I wasn't the Murakami fan I used to be now, as it was my first book. Today I know a lot more about him, and today I know that he is a fan of The Great Gatsby, someone he often references in his stories. And Menshiki is the Gatsby of Killing Commendatore. He is wealthy, hides a secret, lives a bit remotely, and just as the Gatsby, his story is told through the eyes of his neighbor. His full name, Wataru Menshiki, is not only a simple name Murakami has chose, it connects to the story. And this is an element I love, no matter if a book or a movie. I'm a big fan of foreshadowings or even signs. So let's take a closer look on the meaning of his name. Wataru means to cross a river. When our main character enters the underworld towards the end of the book, he drinks from a river. When he later meets the other idea, the Donna Anna, she tells him that river flows along the interstice between presence and absence. It is filled with hidden possibilities that only the finest metaphors can bring to the surface. Now let that sink in for a while. Coming to Wataru's last name, Menshiki, you need to know that Menshiki means avoiding colors. His hair is colorless and described as white. Also, the main character stops painting for a while and avoids working with colors. While reading Killing Commendatore, another private challenges hit me. Things I don't want to describe in words, but stories that stressed me a lot and questioned again if I would go on like this or not. But once I opened the pages of book 1 and 2 of Killing Commendatore, I found a calm peace. Yes, the book has its length, partly unnecessary or repetitive passages. It has been panned by critics for it. But it was exactly the thing I needed by that time. It pulled me down, it kidnapped me into another world that felt more realistic than ever, because this guy managed to create an own fantasy within our reality. Therefore I will be forever grateful for Killing Commendatore. It was the perfect start and a great introduction for works like Kafka on the Shore, Norwegian Wood or Colorless Tsukuru Tazaki, just to name a few. And this is the reason why you are on my channel right now, watching these videos. What comes next is a detailed review on every Murakami book. Each book will be separated in several videos discussing the characters, plots, locations and theories of every single novel. This short essay contained a brief introduction on Menshiki, but very soon I'll be presenting a more detailed version of the Killing Commendatore characters. And the same will be online soon for other favorite works. So, please stay tuned, subscribe to not miss any of them, take good care of yourself and never stop reading. See you soon on Haruki Murakami art.